Alright, hey everyone, Jen here. In this really short training, I'm just doing a flyover of cold email validation. So if you've seen the training that we previously recorded on how to create your own lead generation kind of data list, you would have learned how we use Sales Navigator and various tools like Kendo and Apollo and Lucia and Snov to find relevant data, particularly emails of decision makers, and to start to build a prospect list like this so that we have, for every company, we have 3 decision makers, we have 3 email addresses, and we have their LinkedIn profile data, and we can grow a list that way. Now, before we start to email these people, we do need to run a check on them, on the emails, to make sure that they're valid. And the reason you do that with any data that you have, even if it's from your own CRM or from a bought list or from a database, is you don't want to be emailing any emails that are out of date or invalid. That will create lots of bounces and spam replies to your emails, and it'll eventually damage your domain and create problems for your cold email outreach. So this quick training is a flyover of that. So this is a little insight into what paid clients get training on with me, but you've got the choice of using a paid tool like Never Bounce or Zero Bounce. There's a bunch of paid tools that you can use for cold email validation. But if you're happy to pay, and Never Bounce is not expensive, it's about point something cent per email, so it's about $8 for every 1,000 emails. You can just upload your CSV or upload a spreadsheet like this. You just export it. I think you just download it as a CSV, and then you would upload it to Never Bounce, and you just run it through the tool, and it gives you back a list of only valid emails, and then that is something that you can use for sending your campaigns. All right, it's really cost effective if you're willing to pay and you just want to do it in bulk. There are free alternatives to Never Bounce. Obviously this is much more manual, but it's great if you've got a team of VAs doing your research for you. So if your VAs are pulling together these data lists and they're creating 100, 150 leads every day, then you could get them to be using these tools. There's actually multiple different ones you could be using, and just kind of double checking that each of the emails are fine. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at some of these tools. Let's look at Email Hippo. And here we just pop in our emails. So let's grab the first one, Charles Elborn, and pop it over here. Let's run a check on that. Oh, here we go. Alright, so it's just telling us to retry later. So let's try a different tool. Let's try Verifalia. Okay, so again, it's not coming up with a great result. So let's try one more. Validate my email address. Okay, we're coming up with an error. So let's try another email, and we'll try it through each of them. So let's try Email Hippo. Alright, so it's unverifiable. Let's try Email Hippo here. Okay, it sounds like it's risky. Let's try it here. Alright, we're not getting valid email addresses here. So this is good to know, and it's probably not surprising considering Trojan Gold really isn't using, all of their kind of key decision makers don't have company email addresses. So alright, this looks like it's okay, which is good. So what we might do is actually delete these 2 because they're invalid. But let's just run another check on Baba. It looks like it's deliverable, that's great. And let's okay, this is correct. So that's unanimously correct. Great. All right, let's just try to go to whitewater management. They look a little bit more legitimate. Looks good. Deliverable, great. And let's just try this one. Okay, whereas this is giving us it's not valid. So we've got 2 yeses and 1 no, so I still think it's worth using that email address. Let's run another decision maker through the test. This one's good. That one's deliverable. And we'll run one more test here. It looks okay, but it's giving us a slight alarm. So it looks like it's alright. I would still accept these. And let's just run our last test on this one. Imagine it's the same as the other ones. And that looks okay. So just to reiterate, you don't need to use multiple tools. You can actually just go with Email Hippo or Verifalia. But you can see that when an email is bad, it's consistently bad. Whereas sometimes the checkers disagree with each other. So it might be worth using 1 or 2 tools. In this case, we're getting mostly okay. I'm not quite sure why we're not getting a valid here when everybody else is telling us it's valid. But essentially, that's the process of validating your emails. Just to reiterate, if you do have large lists of emails and you want to just save time, just use something like Never Bounce. You can send thousands of emails through a list and you'll just kind of get a report back in about 10 minutes or something that gives you a download of all the valid emails and exclusion of all the invalids. Whereas if you have a team of VAs who are scraping data for you and building your own bespoke lists, then you can get them to manually check and get them to use tools like Email Hippo, Verifalia, and verify my email address. Alright, so I hope that very short training was pretty helpful, and I look forward to seeing you in future trainings. Thanks, bye.